Well, hello there folks, and how is it going? And welcome back to another video. We are at the beach, as you probably would have guessed, considering where I live. No real great agenda for this particular outing. Just realized while I was pottering around editing some old photographs that it has been ages since I have been out to take new photographs. I think the last time I was out kind of taking proper photographs was on the Svalbard trip, which was like 2 months ago, which is crazy. So one way or the other, I was getting out to take some photographs, and I figured I would take you guys along on the journey as well. Like I say, no real agenda, no real kind of plan, just down at the usual hunt, gonna see what's what. Now there is a bit of wind, so I'm kind of hoping for some crashy bashies, and I noticed on the way down that the clouds were moving pretty fast, so potential for some long exposures and all that kind of fun stuff. But nonetheless, let's head down to the beach and see what we can see. Let's go. Just like most things, I got around the corner. A, there are no clouds. So those fast moving clouds on the way over, they're just gone. And B, yeah, there's no real crashy bashies. It is time to think outside the box. There is a bit of a haze on the horizon, which may prove to be somewhat frustrating later. But nonetheless, we're here, we're out, we're taking photographs, and that's what's important. Let's just have a wander and see what happens. The tide is very far out, so that might lend itself quite well to some potential new compositions that I haven't seen before. Let's embrace and let's enjoy. So it would seem all of the clouds that I must have seen on the way down are all in this direction. I don't know if you can see that just yet. I am standing in the shade of the big rock. There is quite a haze in the distance, which could lend itself quite well. The intention I'm thinking is that with a nice telephoto, you find some of these rocks as foreground to balance with the mountains in the background. And then if that haze does kind of catch a bit of light and those mountains above the cliffs catch a bit of light, then yeah, we might find ourselves with something nice. As it stands now, there's one or two surfers in the water as well. And now there's some clouds over there, some quite low clouds, if you can see behind me here. Creative juices are flowing. And that's what the aim of the game was, really, was just, like I say, just to get out, enjoy the sea. I can't even remember the last time I was here at this particular beach, even though I've been here for maybe a couple of videos now at this stage. But sure, look, there's the moon as well. So loads and loads of opportunities. Just get out, bring the camera. That's what's important. So let's just play, see what magic we can muster. Just to add an extra note before we begin in earnest, I am very familiar with this beach, which is great. It's always nice to revisit places. And I just checked that the tide is on its way back in. So that's something that I'm going to have to be super mindful of, because as you can probably remember, if you've watched the previous videos from when I was here at this beach, it moves so quick. And this particular tide is so strong. It's crazy. So let's keep our head screwed on tight. But nonetheless, let's fire on.
These are the first two images that really caught my eye during the review process of all of the images that I captured during this wonderful evening. Simple, minimalist, frozen in time moments. This is why I really enjoy photographing the sea. Every wave and every moment are just so unique, and when you plonk yourself in any position and hone in on the water as it crashes, you can capture something truly once in a lifetime.
Well, that proved itself quite nice indeed. You know, one of the fantastic things about photographing the sea like this is that when there's many different breaks, you can totally use that to your advantage and add layers and use depth of field to just add this wonderful sense of depth and motion to the scene. And that's ultimately what I was aiming to try and just do. And as the sun is setting, we've got about maybe 45 minutes till the sun sets. It's really casting this really wonderful side light on everything here. So absolutely going to try and take advantage of that for sure. But it's really lovely. And thankfully the clouds that are off in the distance that we seen earlier are still there, and that nice kind of sea mist is still there. So we'll absolutely hope for the best. And even just looking up above us now, there's a lot of clouds. So you never know, we could catch some light. But what I'm going to do now is relinquish myself from the tripod because it's still kind of bright. I get away with shooting fast, and I'm going to kind of just clamber over the rocks a little bit and see if I can get down low and capture some of those tubes or whatever you call them as they break. So let's plow on and see what we can do. I am flying solo today, so there is no Orla capturing her epic B-roll. I have stumbled my way across these incredibly pointy rocks with no flip-flops. But the water is coming in, and it is coming in fast, so I do need to be very mindful of that. The sun is, I probably got maybe another 25 minutes or so before the sun sets. But look at the scene. I hope you can see that behind me because it is really, really wonderful. That haze is really lingering. And so let's fire on and see if we can capture a few images here now, and hopefully I don't get swept away.
Likewise to the first two images, these two are simple, but yet for me so effective. The first, capturing depth. The layers add just a wonderful sense of depth to the entire frame. And capturing that water almost like frozen ice is really wonderful. I was so happy with this particular image as the light just caught in the middle of the wave, almost like the sun is just under the surface of the water. It also adds such a wonderful natural contrast of warm tones and cool tones. And for a minimalist wave scene like this, really adds a pop and punch of color.
So my intention now is to try and capture some backlit waves as they break. As I say, the sun is nice and low at the minute, so I'm going to try and use that to my advantage, because out here where the edge of the big rock comes into the water, there's some nice layers and there's some crashing and bashing that's happening out there. So we might play around and see if we can capture some nice backlit waves. You know, there's some really wonderful light catching just under the surface of the water. The water is so nice and shallow, and it's just really catching these ripples. It's absolutely wonderful. But not when you're about to get washed away, it's not. Only when it's receding. It's really wonderful. It's almost like it's gold, just getting pulled out by the water. It's really fantastic. One of the things you need to be super conscious about as well when you're photographing as the tide comes up and in and around your feet is just the sand and how it kind of gets drawn and pulled away from underneath your feet. And sometimes it can shift your focus, and sometimes it can just, you know, take you by surprise a little bit. So be super duper mindful for sure.
This is my favorite image of this particular sequence of images. There is just something so wonderful about how the light is being cast, adding this beautiful golden hue as it dances and ripples across the sand as the tide pulls and pushes. It's always a worthy endeavor to simply look down and take advantage of what your eye naturally sees. As I was photographing, standing upwards, a glint of golden light caught my eye and drew me to this scene. For a simple minimalist frame, I really like this. Very abstract and could do very well printed.
So one of the things we just do when you've no real crazy agenda or picture that you have in mind is just to try different areas, different compositions, different wanderings, you know? Like even now I'm seeing these nice three little rocks popping up out of the water, which could be interesting if some water breaks. A nice fast shutter speed. Let's see. That's kind of nice. What I've got there is kind of cool because you've got the three rocks and then you've got that one rock in the back. So let's try and shift our perspective a little bit and line them up. And as the water is down, just that middle rock, it's exposed and gives us quite a nice balanced composition, I think. Just need to wait for the right wave now. Oh, look at that. That's awesome. Some nice backlit movement in the water there. And a nice, simple composition. There's nothing too crazy about it at all. It's just nice and easy, you know? And you know, even looking down this end of the beach where we're hoping the sky catches some color for us, there's some nice layers even just standing here looking down the water. This will probably be maybe a mid-range shot, possibly around 75 mils. But sure, nonetheless, we're getting ahead of ourselves and let's enjoy this wonderful view. I better go check my bag because it's behind the rocks and I really hope it hasn't gotten washed away. So, the light is actually starting to turn very, very nice now. And what I've done is I've actually popped on my filter on the front of the 100 to 400. I've got like a variable ND filter. It's the only one that fits. I've actually just taken about a 4-second exposure and I really like it. I'm gonna just tweak the composition a bit. The haze and the water and the mist that's off in the distance there is really adding absolutely beautiful drama. So if the clouds catch some light, I think we're going to be onto a winner. So let's keep our fingers and toes crossed and let's fire on nonetheless, because slowing down the shutter has really opened up the creative space for all these lovely rocks and layers to come alive in. It's really, really gorgeous. So as it stands now, I'm just taking a 5-second exposure. Let's see how that one looks. Oh, lovely, yeah. There's some beautiful contrast in the water itself just because of that last bit of sunlight. And it's just really adding such wonderful drama and depth to the entire scene. Fantastic. And the cliffs are just catching some absolutely gorgeous color. So let's keep firing on and try and catch the last of it. We have about 10 minutes before the sun is set. So let's fire on.
For the day that was in it and no real plan or agenda, I am thrilled with the final result of this particular image. Such wonderful light caught on the cliff edge, and slowing down the shutter really enabled me to add such wonderful drama and contrast to the scene. Even though there isn't a massive amount of colour in the sky, for me the frame is still so wonderfully balanced with this soft ethereal feel and this drama that just gets pulled in from the left to the right and anchored so heavily with the mammoth cliffs in the distance. Really, really happy with this one.
Well, the sun has officially set and unfortunately nothing really materialized on the cliff that you can see behind. So I've turned back around to my original idea and I just took a 20-second exposure, which I actually really, very much like. There is so much mood and just so much drama. There's no color in the sky. So therefore we have to look beyond and just try and capture this kind of crazy mood and drama that's in the scene at the minute. So that's what we're ultimately trying to do with our long exposures, is just to add this ethereal feel to the entire scene. So let's capture a few more and see what we can get.
This particular frame is nothing too spectacular, as it's just an example of what zooming in to 400mm can really do to a scene. It adds such a wonderful element of compression and really emphasizes the size of the cliffs compared to the foreground elements. This drama that's being created by the haze really just adds extra layers and extra depth to the entire scene.
Well, as the last of the light fades, I'm just enjoying enjoying being here. It's wonderful. I'm damp from the mist, from the haze, and from the sea spray, but it's wonderful. I feel just so glad that I came out. And this final composition that I've settled on here, I actually really like. It's one thing that I really admire about seascape photographers and seascape photography in general, is when you start to slow down the shutter speed, you really just open up this whole new world of possibilities and creativity. And that's one thing that when the light fades, even though you may not get the epic skies that you do be after, sometimes it's nice just to focus in on the little bits and just kind of play around with time. And that's one thing that I'm really experimenting here with now at the moment with this composition that I found. I am at 25 seconds. So let's take this picture and see what kind of magic it creates. But it's just so wonderful to be out and feeling the air. It's so nice. You get so cooped up sometimes working away and plodding along on your computer. And particularly, I'm a bit of a busy fool sometimes, as they say, because I'll look back at old photographs, and I have been processing some old photographs that I'm super happy with, but I do always forget sometimes just to come out and take some new ones. Oh yeah, I like that new. There's lots going on in this one. This is great, lovely, loving that. Absolutely love that one. Might zoom out just a touch, include a bit more of that foreground. Let's do one more. We're shaky here. I need to tighten things up a bit. Damn horizon line. Now, let's have a look.
And as we close off the video with this final image, I am really happy with how this particular one turned out. Shooting at around 25 seconds or so, this enabled the water to turn so milky and smooth, but still retain some level of detail to add that micro contrast that helps the eye bob and weave through the foreground and mid-ground elements, ultimately settling you on the big rocks in the background. And while there isn't a crazy amount of color in the sky, the pastel-y golden hue that is there really balances and contrasts so beautifully with the cool tones of the water, and one that has seemed to become a regular theme throughout the videos. Capturing that natural contrast is such a wonderful chase and always yields such wonderful results.
So this video is just a bit different. Again, I didn't really have much of an agenda, and as I was progressing, I thought, sure, why not just press record and it almost be like a live session of how I come out and photograph. Sometimes it's nice to chop things up and do it all with the music, and I figured maybe this might be a bit different, just a bit more ASMR zen-y for the evening that's in it. Let's have a look here again. Okay, lovely, great stuff. So I think I'll probably leave it there. What time is it now? It is 5 to 9, which is way past my bedtime. I hope you enjoyed the video nonetheless, and I hope you enjoyed this kind of longer take. We'll see how it turns out in the edit room. The usual stuff. If you fancied it, give it a like, and if you fancy joining along, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you on the next one. So take it easy, everybody. Have a good one.